John, then let me turn to silver. So many silver bulls out there. They're obviously a little bit frustrated with the price drop, the consolidation. We're $36 and change today, but I think silver acts great. What are your thoughts?
I think it does, too. I mean, the fact is that was an orchestrated raid that took it down from nearly $50, took it down 35%, I think, from top to bottom in the space of about just over a week. And they were trying to blame it on small speculators who had sort of blown up a bubble getting cleaned out. That was garbage. They finally cleaned out the speculators at the bottom when they put through 5 margin hikes and crushed the price. And so no wonder the thing took a beating. The fact is that it's now consolidating. The physical silver market's in robust condition. There's far more demand than there is available silver. And I fully expect when gold breaks out, silver will be rising at a higher percentage rate because I suspect the gold-silver ratio will start to drop again. It got down to briefly to 30, and it's got back into the 40s. But I and my partner Eric Sprott both think that the gold-silver ratio will probably reach historical lows before this whole bull market's over, and that'll put it down in the 10 to 15 range. So if you pick a high number for gold, just think you're going to make 2 or 3 times as much in silver.
John, let me turn it back to gold for just a minute in relation to silver. You and I have talked before in the past and even today about the central bank leasing of gold and how that's been a price depressor for people who have been in gold, and they've been frustrated by that. But silver, it's always been the Achilles heel, hasn't it, John?
They've done a magnificent job with paper. I mean, the guy who really knows the score on that is Ted Butler. I mean, he's, I guess, the guy who knows the most about the silver market. And he's been adamant. He's been sort of complaining to the CFTC for years. And I find it amazing that the CFTC held that hearing a year ago, March, where the whistleblower, Andrew Maguire, showed up and his evidence was introduced, laying out chapter and verse how it was done. And the investigation is still ongoing, and there's never been a peep out of these guys. I mean, a blind man can see that the silver market's manipulated. So go figure.
When you look at silver and the lack of supply there, though, and the tightness, the continued tightness, though, John, how do you keep that market manipulated for long?
You can't. I don't think you can. I think that one of the most telltale signs is the declining inventory levels in the COMEX and the LBMA. I mean, one wealthy entity could come in and clean them totally out of every ounce of silver they had.
John, with everything that's happening around the globe and things just keep spinning out of control, that's how these cycles are. The fear index, as James Turk likes to call it, the fear index just starts to creep higher and higher and higher and hit new highs and new highs and new highs. And people just don't think that can be the case after what we saw in 2008. But you and I both know that it can. It just continues to accelerate. The people that are in charge, the central banks, the central planners, these folks think they can keep things under control. Are they mistaken here?
I think they are, because I think there's always points in history when the events overtake the man. For the longest time, the man's arrogance and hubris think they can control the events, and by sort of kicking the can down the road, the events get bigger and bigger. And then at some point, and we can't ever put the pin in to say exactly when that point is, but it generally comes out of left field, and it's often sparked by something you haven't even thought of. But then, when the events overcome the man, we have catastrophes. And like 2008 would certainly qualify. I think that was just the first leg of the global financial crisis. The next one awaits.
John Embry, Chief Investment Strategist at Sprott Asset Management. Thank you for joining us on King World News.